Dave, Bill, and Carmen here at the Joy FM with Brandon Lake this morning.
Yes, Brandon, thank you for being here this morning.
So honored to be here.
We were talking to one of your besties a little while ago, Phil Wickham, and we were just talking about one of his songs in particular that's just an anthem. And there are some songs that just, are going to stand the test of time. They're just songs that we're going to sing forever. Timeless songs. You have a lot, but there's two in particular. Everyone knows what they are, and I just want to talk to you about them for a couple of minutes. I mean, obviously, Gratitude stands alone by itself, but the one I actually want to talk about, it's my favorite Brandon Lake song. I can put this song on repeat over and over and over. But let's talk about Graves. I mean, as a broadcaster, and I've said this before too, you don't want to ask the questions that everybody asks, but I mean, Graves into Gardens, when did God give you that song? Talk to us about it. Season to Highways.
I had the privilege. So this was the first time I ever wrote with Pastor Stephen Furtick and Chris Brown and Tiffany Hudson. I was driving up. So I met Chris at a conference, and I'm like, dude, y'all are a few hours away from me in Charleston. They're in Charlotte. So I was like, if y'all ever want to write, let's do it. And our pastors are really close, Pastor Stephen and my pastor at my home church, Pastor Greg Surratt. So we kind of knew of each other. And so I get this invite maybe, a few weeks later, and Chris is texting me. He's like, hey, Pastor Stephen would love to write. So I go up. I am so nervous. I've grown up on his songs, their songs. Elevation has played the biggest role in my faith and showed me, taught me how to lead worship, and I would study them. And so I go, I'm so nervous. And I get there, and we actually started writing a different song first. We wrote My Testimony. I think I ended up writing 4 or 5 songs on that Graves into Gardens record. And I think it was the second or third song we start writing this song, and it felt kind of country. It felt like, had that kind of sway to it. And then the story of really the song comes out. And we had a little bit of a different chorus. I can't remember what it was. Pastor Stephen has the most amazing memory, and he knows exactly what happened every single point, But we have this amazing song, but then we're like, okay, we need a bridge. And Pastor Stephen had preached this message, and in it, he had this phrase, Graves into Gardens. And Chris is kind of reminding him of that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. That's the song. And so we were like, okay, let's chase this bridge idea. And Pastor Stephen's like, I want it to have a moment where there's it just doesn't just speak faith, but it sounds like it. It's like, let's do something. He gets on the electric guitar and he starts going, bah, 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 bah. We're just kind of, chunking and strumming, and then he kind of makes those chords and those hits, and we were like, dude, that's it. And he just starts throwing out lyrics, and we kind of finish up. I mean, it was really within a few minutes, if seconds, that all those lines, Graves into Gardens, Seas into Highways, Bones into Armies, it came about. So the fun part of the story for me, though, is we finished the song. We're all so amped on it. They said, all right, we need to demo it. And so Pastor Stephen looks at me. He's like, hey, you sing it. And I was like, no. I was like, why would I do that? Let's see how Chris sounds on it, because he'd be the one leading it. He goes, no, I think you should do the demo. So we started doing the demo, and I'm singing, and I'm all of a sudden, y'all got to know, I didn't always sing this way. All of a sudden, this Southern man, this lion starts coming out, and I start singing, with a little bit of Chris Stapleton in my voice. And I literally stopped the track, and I was like, Pastor, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I'm singing like that. I don't know why there's grits coming out. And he goes, no. He goes, give me all of it. Always lean into it. It's amazing. So I sing it, and I need to go back and try to find the original demo and post it. But, and so I'm like, well, that was fun, but I'm never going to lead this song. And then it was probably a few days later, he's texting me. He's like, do you love this song as much as I do? I'm like, I really love it. He's like, well, I can't wait for you to lead it. Can you come do the live recording? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to. Are you sure? And that really started, kind of that bigger relationship of us writing and me featuring on songs that we wrote together. And I'll never forget, after leading that song, it's a really high song. I don't think I've ever led it in the key of B since. And I'm freaking out. I mean, essentially, this is the biggest platform, that I've been on to this point. And I'm so nervous. And I remember the band going, y'all tell me to shut up, by the way, if I'm sharing too much info.
No, let's hear it.
So the band, the MD looks at me, he's like, hey, if you ever, when we end the song, if you want to go back into it, you just, give me a nod. And I was like, nah. Like, the church doesn't even like they like this song. There's no way it's going to be like that lit, And man, that was the most electric room I've ever been in. We get done with the song, and then an even more Southern person comes out of me. I look back at the MD. I take off my guitar. I literally threw it on the stage because I was just like, I threw my guitar and I looked at him and I gave him a nod. And that's when I turn around and I go, I don't think we're finished yet. Yeah. I think he's turning some things over now. Yeah. And I often go back and listen to that because it just makes me laugh so much. I'm like this, my spirit man came out full form of a Southern, Charlestonian. And then we went back into it. And I remember when the song was done, I walked off stage to get a breather. I went back and there's like bathrooms right off this side of the stage. And there's this poor little assistant just standing outside of the bathroom. And I just literally dropped on the ground. I laid on the floor and I was just like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, one, he got me through that. And it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've done up to this point in my life. And two, that was the most insane thing I've ever experienced. And so,
comes through.
Yeah, that was kind of Graves in the Garden start to finish. But it's still, it's still a song I lead every time I lead. And I think I'll be singing this for a very long time. And I'm just so grateful for the faith it gives people. And to hear a generation or to hear thousands of people saying that there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing better than you. I mean, that is so true. And it's a powerful thing to declare.
Graves into Gardens, Brandon Lake on the Joy FM.